When you go on a low carb diet, you have to give up pasta. You have to give up the bun on your burger. You give up cereal, ice cream out the window, right? And it kind of stinks. But we're going to give you 5 reasons to get rid of those things and cut the carbs in this video today.
Okay, so you're opening, you point out that giving up carbs can stink. Well, being carb addicted can stink also. So that's like reason number 1. It is not fun to be addicted to carbohydrates. And whether you call it sugar addiction or carbohydrate addiction, I mean, they're pretty darn close, right? So, we just take a grain and we refine it a little bit, but we don't go all the way to sugar. It's still going to be an addictive substance. And when you are carb addicted, and we've both been there, I was there probably more so than you, it takes over your life. You have sugar and food and these, treats on your mind all day long, and it really feels out of control.
Right. Well, and that's the whole reason for, we have to have a mid-morning snack or a mid-afternoon snack or 6 small meals a day. It's because it just continually, you're running out and you need more and your brain is telling you to eat.
Yeah, I think that is one of the most freeing things from a low carb or a keto diet, and I think probably a lot of people would agree, is that you are not so focused on food.
Right.
We used to go to like a party or something, and you'd be chatting with somebody, but in the back of your mind, you're going, when's the cake coming? When's the cake coming? And it just, we can see the cake and we might want a piece, but we probably aren't going to eat it. And it doesn't really bother us all that much. It might be a little bit of a bummer, but it's not taking over our lives like we did. So that's it. Reason number 1, being addicted to carbs stinks.
Right. So reason number 2, you lose weight.
Yeah.
I mean, cutting out the carbs is probably the simplest. I'm not going to say easiest because it's not always easy to get past those cravings, but it is a simple way. You cut down your carbs and you will lose weight. It happened with me. It's happened with millions of people. I mean, you read some of the comments below our videos and you'll see, everybody will be saying that, how much they've benefited in weight loss.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it personally. We've seen it with the people that we work with. We've seen it with you guys in the comments down below. But there's scientific reasons for this. And I think a lot of people will say, oh, well, you cut carbs, you're just going to lose water weight. Well, you do lose water weight. Right. Glycogen, which is stored sugar, holds water in our bodies. So when we aren't eating sugar or carbohydrates, our bodies aren't holding on to as much water. So you do lose water weight.
That's initially.
Initially, right. But you are going on and becoming a better fat burner by eating a low carb diet. And that is because your body does not have those quick energy sources, those sugars and those carbohydrates. So when it is low on them, it must find another alternate source of energy, and that comes from fat. And that is allowed because eating a low carb diet keeps the fat storing hormone insulin low. Right. So it sets your body up into a state where you are favoring the release of fat from your fat stores, and it gets burned up for energy. Right. And that's how you lose weight.
And that kind of rolls into our next point of controlling your blood sugar level, right? So we know that diabetes is a huge problem in the world, and you put pre-diabetes into that, and then you're looking at like 2/3 of the population, right? I mean, it's a really it's a devastating illness and fully preventable too. And that is because, if you go on a low carb diet, cut the sugar out, you can stabilize your blood sugar, and you don't get this insulin resistance, and which is typically what type 2 diabetes is really more involved. It's a very severe insulin resistance problem. And going low carb and cutting those carbs out of your diet will definitely help you control your blood sugar. And you can either come down from that pre-diabetes, or even, we've seen some instances of diabetes, coming back towards more normal, or certainly preventing even getting to that point by doing this.
Yeah, and if stabilizing your blood sugar is top on your priority list, but it scares you to think about cutting carbs, start at the highest level of a low carb diet, which is 125 grams of carbs. Now you will have to count them, you will have to watch them in the foods that you're eating, but that will give you some freedom to transition slowly, and it will stabilize your blood sugar. So at 125 grams of carbohydrates, you'll be allowed to have fruit. You can have beans. You can have a few starchy vegetables. I mean, not till your heart's content, but you can still have these things in your diet. And once you get comfortable with that and your blood sugar stabilizes, you will feel more comfortable and in control, and then you will be able to down the carbohydrate content of your diet even farther, and that's when you're going to start to see the significant weight loss differences.
As needed. I mean, you know, if you don't need to go any further than 125, then you're good there. You're good there.
Yeah, yeah. And if you are just starting, we have a list of 100 low-carb foods that you can download for free, and we will point to that for you.
Throw that up there.
Yeah, you were talking about insulin resistance,
right.
And that brings us closer to our last two reasons that you want to cut carbs, and that chronically high insulin level that is created when we are insulin resistant creates a lot of inflammation in the body. And one of the reasons that you want to cut carbs is because your joints will feel younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can attest to that personally.
Okay, so I'll give a personal account from what you just told me earlier today. So Keith has been not able to go to the gym lately because gyms are closed. So he's been hiking every morning for about an hour up on the mountain. And when we were first married and you were 80 pounds heavier, we would go for a walk and you would twist your ankle.
I step on a pebble and I could twist my ankle.
Yeah, and you'd be done for a couple of weeks. And not only that, you would be sore and achy and everything. And today you came home and said, "Oh, I took a tumble today. I wasn't paying attention and tripped over a root and felt." I go, I'm like, okay, because you're 59 and holding, and I was like, okay, are you all right? And you're like, yeah, I got right back up again, kept going. I was like, wow, that's
number one, 80 pounds more.
Yes.
And the way that my joints used to be always swollen and achy. Yeah, I wouldn't have been popping up off the ground as quick as I did today, and I probably would have done a little bit more damage to myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can attest that my joints feel and work better than they did 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, aging with grace.
Well, okay.
And parlaying that into our last point here is how much better your skin and your complexion is when you follow a low carb diet, when you cut carbs. I'll look at it at two angles, right? So aging skin and also acne, younger skin, right? So as we age and we get wrinkles and things like that, a lot of it has to do with glycation, which is really a process that goes on in the body that is, in the simplest way of describing it, is sugar coating things like fats and proteins. We see this with cholesterol, a type of fat, and that is why a high sugar diet is so bad for cardiovascular health, because cholesterol gets glycated and we end up with problems. We also see that with HbA1c.
Right.
But also it will sugarcoat certain proteins like collagen, which is a structural protein in your skin. And that will cause the skin to lose its elasticity, sag, and cause wrinkles prematurely and things like that.
Yeah, premature aging thing.
And so then if we're talking about acne, I think a lot of people kind of put sugar and acne together. They know that it's bad for it, but what it actually is doing is it stimulates the oily secretions, the sebum, and that causes the pores to get blocked, causing acne. So a low sugar, a low refined carb diet is going to be better for your skin in many ways.
Right. And another thing is skin tags.
Oh yeah.
directly related to insulin resistance. And this is not something I ever knew before we started doing these things. But I used to have skin tags in my underarm area, both arms.
On your neck and the underarms is very commonplace.
Very common, yeah. Yeah, mine was all under the arms. And when we were looking at doing this video, because I hadn't really paid attention to mine, and I realized that my skin tags are gone.
Yeah.
I don't have a single one anymore.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing. But it all has to do with insulin resistance. It's a very well-known outward physical sign of insulin resistance.
Oh yeah, it's certainly been backed up by research that there's a direct correlation between the number of skin tags you have and your HOMA-IR score, which is a test of your insulin resistance. We have a video on that we'll show too. But isn't that funny that skin tags, I mean, you wouldn't think that, right? Related to your diet.
Right.
But they certainly
And
are.
that they could go away.
Yeah. When you cut the carbs.
Yeah. I mean, that's very interesting. I was shocked when I kind of realized that.
Yeah. It's those types of manifestations in the body that always make me think that, you do not outrun a poor diet.
No.
It's manifesting some way in your body.
Yep.
So, hey, stick with your low-carb keto diet, healthy way. You'll feel better. You'll look better.
You'll look better.
Thanks so much. Let us know your experiences and what benefits you've had other than weight loss. What other benefits have you gotten in your life that you are amazed by now that you're doing low-carb keto? It will be great for us to hear. Thanks so much.